This is what we all get taught in school when it comes to our planets. Um, as far as the size goes, this is laid out showing the relative sizes of the planets, the diameter. You got, you know, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. Earth is kind of on the small side of the spectrum. It's just kind of very insignificant, like you are, and like I am, like everybody is. And then just a little speck of dust floating around the universe. Jupiter is really gigantic, and Saturn, and these are also big, and then Pluto's tiny. So you know when someone's lying to you, you can tell because what they say, it doesn't add up. So let's see, does this add up? So here's something cool I saw recently, that the 2018 Summer Parade of Planets, that was last year, but what happens there is that during the summer, these planets, they won't be right next to each other, but they're going to pass by the moon. I'm not sure if it's the same night, but they lined them up here. This isn't a photograph, but they lined them up here to show you how each one will look relative to the moon. I have a feeling they exaggerate a little bit the size of Jupiter. I've never looked up and seen any object that big. All kind of like this, smaller than that. But I'd like to see an actual comparison. But anyway, the point is, this is Mars, this is Saturn, this is Jupiter. And the problem is, Mars is tiny, Jupiter is way bigger, and Saturn is a little smaller, but further. So, what a coincidence that they all just perfectly are like bigger than each other, but far enough away so that they all appear like about the same size, like small, medium, large. And if there are other stars around here, you couldn't really tell them apart. They are all about like that size. So everything. So you got, when you look up in the sky, you see the moon, the sun, and stars, and then we're supposed to be planets. Um, but all the planets kind of, they look like stars. They're shiny, real shiny. Um, you can see with your naked eye. Um, so maybe this is an incredible coincidence, uh, that it all just lined up perfectly balanced like this. We get these sizes, but but if Jupiter, because it's all by random, it's all just kind of random universe we live in. But what if Jupiter was where Mars is relative to Earth, and Mars was where Jupiter is, like way further? Then, if we looked at this Jupiter would look like as big as this whole square, like if it was a circle, like giant compared to the moon, like maybe almost the same size. That'd look weird. But that's what we should see. But it never works out like that. It's always like little stars, sun and moon, and they're all like within their size limits. Like there's no variety in the size of the stars, but there should be. But we don't see that. Everything's always perfectly far enough away to make it appear equal in size, even though there's crazy differences in the sizes. Like this, I mean, it's like this Mars is way smaller than Jupiter. So, but then here, so here's the problem. Look at Pluto way over here. It's like tiny. Pluto is smaller than, I think it's the smallest planet, and it's much, much further. So let me see this. Not yet. Okay, Jupiter is 365 million miles away from Earth. Pluto is 4.67 billion miles away. So it's like 9 times farther. It's 9 times farther, but it's way smaller. And but thing is, through a telescope here, this is arrows pointing. This is Pluto. How can that be? It just looks like one of the stars. Um, and like I said, you got stars small, medium, large. It's about the size they come in. It's probably a view through a telescope. So um, that doesn't make sense because if it was way out here, 9 times farther than this, relative to where we are, you wouldn't even see it. I mean, if Mars is way smaller but way closer, then maybe you could have like this. And just like they say, the moon is 400 times smaller than the sun, but it's 400 magically 400 times closer. So they just cover each other during an eclipse. That's like impossible, man. But say the universe is so big, anything's possible. Okay. Let's see. Oh, not that. Um, oh, and then what I wanted to add to that is that no matter where, here's a weird thing that blows my mind. No matter where you go in the world, this is what this is the plate of crap you'll be served in any school, any university, any news station you watch or science program. They're all telling you the same thing. And America went to the moon, and Russia, China a little later, and they all got their fake space programs. But you would think if they were adversaries, um, and America faked the moon mission, Russia or China would have said, "Man, those guys are lying. They never did it." But no, they fool their public, their citizens too. So it's like they're all together against the people, and and they're lying about it. It's a big lie, and it's obviously a lie because it just doesn't add up, man. When you take a minute to look at it, but people just believe what they hear on TV. Like my mom, if you brought up aliens to her like 10 years ago in UFOs, she'll laugh at you. But now, because on History Channel, they were saying that, the government's going to start um, looking into aliens and UFOs, and they're actually true. It's actually true that it's happening, and they're going to, release information to the public. Like she believes it now. Like she'll just believe whatever the TV tells her to believe. Like you don't think for yourself. I wasn't any better. I was the same way for a while until, but when you see someone is lying to you, you want to go with the truth. So you choose to move away from them. I don't know why anybody would want to keep listening to that stuff if it's a lie. But some people bury their head in the sand. I love my mom though. Uh, and you know, the amazing thing is that this is what they're hiding. This is what the dark rulers of this world who work together against man and against God. I'm not saying it's Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton and who's the guy in Russia, Vladimir Putin. Um, they're like puppets in the show, but people you don't see and things that you don't see are enemies of man, enemies of God, and it's for our own good. This earth is a battlefield. This plane we're on, and it's a war for people's souls. In being here, we get to prove what we're all about. We're gonna keep the faith or be unfaithful to God and just world just says just do whatever makes you happy. It's getting nastier and nastier too. And they have little kids now um, involved in sin. Like the world is pushing kids into sin. It's just getting worse. But it's always been bad. They used to chop people up too. They don't do that, but it might get more violent. But it's really twisted. But the world is unified. The dark leaders, rulers of this world, are not what they present themselves to be. It's like separate countries and secular, and then they got the science that proves it was a big bang, and over billions of millions of years, just by accident, we all evolved. Life evolved. We evolved from monkeys, and everywhere you go, that's the thank you. The main, my God, happy birthday saying to me. The mainstream narrative will tell you that bull crap story, but this is reality. This is where we are, right in the middle here. The firmament, there is the sun, moon and stars, but they're in this barrier that you can't pass. You can't like get in a spaceship and fly through there and go into the vast universe. That's a hoax. Like Star Trek, Star Wars, you should go venture into other planets, and each one is like a different world with aliens and all this stuff. All lies, man. This is what the scriptures tell us. This is the truth. This is what they hide. Those stars and things are in this field right here. I don't know how deep it is, but it's not like billions of light years. I don't know. It might be 100 miles, 1 million miles. I don't know, but they're close and they don't move. Constellations never change. They're always the same. If we're in an expanding universe, how come the constellations didn't change by one girl's hair in 5,000 years? They don't move. They should be like changing. Um, and among other things, I mean, this is the main thing they're hiding from people.